tonight. McKnight tonight.
Wrong again.
McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight.
I've seen that since university.
Funny, insightful, interviews. Put my watch, just get yourself back. McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight. Here comes McKnight tonight.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Now, here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to McKnight Tonight. It is Wednesday, August 6th, and I have a little bone to pick with Amanda. Yes, I'm talking to you, Amanda. I went to have one of Jeanette's orange snakes, and because Amanda has been fantastic, she's put the old orange snakes in, not the new horrible colour. And I dipped in, and I had one just before we came on air while you weren't looking. And guess what I tasted, Amanda? The new flavour. And there I was, wanting to feel a little bit of niceness and goodness before. How many did you put in here? It's the first one I've tasted. Now I'm fearful of going in there again. And it needs refilling already. Anyway, that's the bad news. We do have some good news because they have arrived. The new McKnight Tonight mug is here in all its glory. So it's out with this old one and in with the new one. I told you I drank water. You all think it's alcohol in there, but I do have water, unless it's Tipsy Thursday. So yes, I am setting up the YouTube page to be able to sell our new McKnight Tonight mugs, and as promised, paid members will get first dibs, maybe for a couple of days, and then I'll open it up. So make sure you go to youtube.com/@McKnight to get yours. That is a dark blue. It looks black, but it's a very dark blue. So maybe in the next batch we'll try a lighter blue if we get to the next batch. But I tell you what, water tastes even sweeter with the new McKnight Tonight mug. All right. Coming up, Queensland teachers staged the state's first full-scale strike since 2009, walking out of classrooms and reigniting the pay debate. The government freezes beer tax but hits spirits with another hike. Distillers say it's discrimination in a glass, and I agree. I'll speak with Dr. Stephen King from the Productivity Commission on why he's against over-regulating AI, but what are the downfalls of his plans? And the AFL faces calls to act after Luke Beveridge gives Channel 7 the cold shoulder. Was it a protest, a power play, or poor sportsmanship? Don't forget to give me your feedback in the comment section of this video. I will get to that feedback shortly. Let's get into our hot topics. Thousands of state school teachers in Queensland have walked off the job, staging the state's first full-scale strike since 2009. The Queensland Teachers Union, representing nearly 50,000 educators, overwhelmingly backed the strike. In fact, over 95% voted in favour after rejecting a government pay offer of 3% this year, followed by 2.5% next year and in 2027. The union says the government's offer would leave teachers earning among the lowest pay in Australia. The Courier Mail spoke to one of the striking teachers during today's protest.
I just think that our conditions need improvement. We do so much work outside of our contracted hours. We only get paid for the 25 hours a week that we work, and so much extra happens behind the scenes. I don't think people are aware. We haven't had strike action in 16 years. I think we're expected to do a lot more with a lot less.
Yeah, sorry, how many hours a week did she say she worked?
We do so much work outside of our contracted hours. We only get paid for the 25 hours a week.
25 hours a week? I don't even have a job and I work longer than that each week. Sorry. Well, on that, let's have a look at the salary a teacher makes in Queensland, because an entry-level permanent teacher with a four-year degree, they start at around $84,078 per year. I don't know if times have changed, but that doesn't seem like a bad starting salary to me. But as they progress through classifications and accrue experience, their pay can rise to $111,000 per annum, with higher levels such as senior, highly accomplished and lead teachers a total salary can exceed $142,000 depending on classification. Now, average across the profession, Glassdoor data shows an average salary of approximately $110,000 per year. So let's assume $110,000 is the average. Look, I do have to say government data suggests average actual earnings are closer to $90,000, but so there is a disparity between what some researchers are saying and what the government's saying. But let's also take a look at how many holidays they get. Because annual leave and government holidays leave entitles at full-time government employees, including state school teachers, to 20 working days. So they get 4 weeks of paid leave. That's pretty normal. But they also get a 17.5% leave loading. So when they take a day off, annual leave, they get paid an extra 17.5%. In addition, teachers receive state public holidays, which range from 10 to 12 days per year, depending on regional show holidays. Like we have Brisbane up here with the Ekka, and we have the Gold Coast holiday. So there's a lot of public holidays. But then you get school holidays, and Queensland state schools typically comprises of 40 teaching weeks divided into roughly 10-week terms alongside scheduled breaks. So they get 17 days in April, 16 days in late June, early July, another 17 days in September, and on the long summer break over Christmas, around 45 days. So they're working 25 hours a week, and I can't even add up how many weeks that equates that they're getting off. That doesn't mean they don't deserve it or they don't deserve a decent wage. They are the front line to educating our kids. So I'm trying to work out where the disparity lies between what the government is offering and what the teachers want. Because when I see a 3% pay rise this year, followed by 2.5% next year and another 2.5% in 2027, that seems like a good deal to me. What's that? 2.5 and 2.5 is 5 and another 3. So that's 8% over 3 years. I know teachers do it tough. I wouldn't want to do it. The very idea that you'd have to deal with some of the crap teachers deal with. We've got a teacher friend who once had a gun pointed at her head and only afterwards found out it was a toy gun. I mean, some of the stuff that goes on is horrific. But the pros of being a teacher are a lot of holidays and good pay for 25 hours a week. And I know that's not it. I know that there's meetings afterwards and there's grading homework and all that kind of stuff. But as someone who's worked in media and, you know, as I say, routinely did at least 40 hours a week, usually 50, 60, I just find it very interesting. And I think the deal is worth taking. There is only so much money the government has. And right now, everybody has their hand out. Everybody has their hand out. All the different unions, and not just here in Queensland where there is a new government, but all around the country, everyone's wanting more and more and more. And we can only go so far. Yes, there is a cost of living crisis, but how far do we take it? I do not want slave labour. I think our minimum wages are right. I do think employees deserve to be paid extra on public holidays, but we have to draw the line somewhere. These teachers are angry. Okay, but what's the final goal here? How far will they take it? Because there has to be some give and take on both sides.
Here comes McKnight tonight.
Okay, let me know your thoughts. I'm just cleaning up the water. Let me know your thoughts on that issue and all the others we're discussing tonight just by going to our YouTube page or on Facebook. But YouTube is youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. All right, the government has delivered on a long-touted election promise, introducing a 2-year freeze on excise tax for keg beer served on drought from August 1, 2025 through to August 2027. It's a cost of living relief move projected to preserve 300,000 hospitality jobs. But here's where lawmakers drop the ball. That means spirits have copped a 1.6% tax. Critics are calling the policy discriminatory, favouring beer drinkers, brewers and pubs over cocktail bars and distillers. And it's hard to disagree. And let me just say, I am so thankful tonight I didn't have bourbon in here. I didn't have a cheeky bourbon. I literally did have the water because I would have wasted so much, and that's money down the drain. But it's a very Labor thing, isn't it? They have this idea that Labor voters are all beer drinkers, so we're getting them on side. And if you're a wine drinker, and you all know I love a wine, or a bourbon drinker, well, are you really one of us? You're probably a Liberal voter, so we don't mind taxing you. It is a class tax, really. Despite the fact what I'm saying is a stereotype and doesn't hold true in any way, shape, or form, but Labor feel that they're on safe ground by doing it. And I just don't understand how you can tax one element of the same product. It's alcohol. You either have a tax on alcohol, you increase that tax yearly with a CPI, or you don't tax anything. It can't be bits and bobs. It is a slap in the face. And it's just one of the things that they always find extra ways to be able to go like they're doing the right thing by us. But at the end of the day, we're getting screwed once again.
Here comes McKnight tonight.
Well, calls are growing for the AFL to step in after Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge refused to speak with Channel 7's Brian Taylor during his Roaming Brian segment. In fact, as you'll see in this clip, Beveridge does a runner the moment he sees Taylor.
Can see Bevo over there. Wonder whether we can sneak up on him and just grab a quick word. Just having a chat here to the coach. I don't know whether we can have a quick word. Can we just grab one question with you? Don't you do Channel 7 anymore, Bevo? All right. Bevo not all that happy with things here, Serge.
The snub follows earlier run-ins with commentators, including a fiery crash with Kane Cornes that saw Cornes banned from Dogs' facilities. Journalist Caroline Wilson, who we featured on the show the other day, says the coach's latest display crossed the line and it was time for the AFL to step in and act. Why does it cross the line? Unless his contract says that he has to engage in commentary with specific commentators and the broadcaster, has he broken his contract? If he has, then fine. But if he just has taken issue, Channel 7 commentator, Kane Cornes, has attacked his coaching style, has been on his back, and so he's said, I'm not talking to 7. That's fine. Channel 7 will be laughing. They're getting promotional material out of this. It is sort of, it does, have you seen Ted Lasso? It reminds me of the coach who's just so honest when he's doing interviews with the press, and he'll say, that was effing crap, and, you know, effing and jeffing, as you might say. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this. And we see it. Wayne Bennett in Queensland with the Broncos has turned on a radio station because they had a go at, I think it was at his wife, and he just went, I'm not talking to them. I mean, I sort of figure you have to man up and just face the music, but it's their prerogative. And unless they are breaking a contract where a job description says you have to talk to this particular media, I mean, they do media interviews. He's not doing interviews. He's just in his dressing room and he doesn't want to talk to a guy from Channel 7, the network that's attacking him. I really don't see what the issue is. But let's see what you think, because we're getting to your feedback right after Random Live Shot of the Day.
It's the random live shot of the day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the random live shot of the day.
Yes, our Random Live Shot of the Day is coming live from Dam Square, the bustling heart of Amsterdam. With temperatures between 18 and 21 degrees today, it's a crisp and sunny scene, perfect for wandering. Dam Square, locally known simply as The Dam, is surrounded by iconic landmarks like the Royal Palace and the National Monument, while crowds, cyclists and street performers bring the square to life. Now, whether you're soaking in the architecture, grabbing a coffee nearby, or watching performers entertain the crowds, this historic plaza pulses with energy day and night. It's the perfect visual break from home, a bit of European atmosphere to transport you wherever you are. And what a lovely day it is over there. And it's about, I think it's coming up to 1:15 in the afternoon. And it's very bustling. Well, it's lunchtime. A lot going on there. Oh, yes, some cyclists going through. What a lovely random live shot of the day. I like that one. All right, let's have a look at the feedback coming through to McKnight tonight. And I'll start off with Own Your Own Crazy, who says many of those holidays are spent preparing for the term to come. Yeah, look, I know that there is prep work, but I'm not sure that it's as much as that, the whole holidays, because there are a lot of holidays. Okay, thank you for that. Own Your Own Crazy. Sorry, over the page we go, and we have this one. My apologies. And it says, Dylan, most teachers do not have school holidays. This is spent catching up on the work not done during the term. Following up from Dylan. Okay, Jeanette says, I spend most weekends making dried fruit for the market today. I work 5 days a week. I don't get a lunch break. I eat with my clients. Yeah, it is not just teachers. All right, Restoration Archive says, come on, guys, forget about hours. Putting up with some of the Gen Z turds would be enough to make you change professions. I agree with that. And I do not underestimate how hard it is being a teacher. So I know there's been a bit of feedback about that, but I promise you. Own Your Own Crazy, how much are Amanda and Jazzy being paid to work on this show? Let's not talk about that. Nicole says they are striking for more than just extra pay. They are also after safer conditions. And I am all with you, Nicole, on that one. They absolutely deserve safer conditions. And it would be good to make sure that they've got those. Okay, I can see this one here from Dylan. Like the luxury car tax, this is the alcohol. Like the luxury car tax, which was brought in to support the local car industry, we now have no local car industry, but the tax still exists. And on the AFL coach, Dylan also says, I believe it is in their contract that they have to make themselves available to the host broadcaster, which for this game was 7. Hang on, I've just seen this one. McKnight for the gold Logie. Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that thought. And Dylan again, another great destination in Europe, a bucket list item for me. Absolutely, I'm with you there, Dylan. Keep your feedback coming through to McKnight tonight. And I tried to do it on TikTok tonight, and guess what happened? We got some kind of ban because we dare show other footage, even though this is the kind of show that shows footage from years. And anyway, it's a whole thing. So YouTube is the place to watch McKnight tonight. And that is exactly what you're doing. Thank you for your company.
Here comes McKnight tonight.
Well, Australia's Productivity Commission is cautioning against over-regulating artificial intelligence, warning that too tight rules could choke off a massive new economic opportunity. In their latest interim report, the Commission estimates AI could add $116 billion to Australia's economy over the next decade and even lift average wages by around $4,300 per worker. For more on this story, I'm joined by Dr. Stephen King, who co-authored the report. Dr. King, welcome to McKnight tonight.
Good to be here, Rob.
Now, Dr. King, AI is the future. There's no doubt about that. But what do you mean when you caution against over-regulating artificial intelligence?
Yep. There's a push, and it has occurred in, particularly in the European Union, to have an AI Act, some sort of technology-specific overarching rules for artificial intelligence. We just think that's the wrong starting point. AI comes with risks. There will be bad actors using AI to do undesirable things, whether it's fraud, whether it's deceiving consumers, whether it's breaching our competition laws. However, while AI makes it easier, cheaper, faster for bad actors to do bad stuff, most of the things they will be doing are already illegal. So what we're suggesting is let's look at our existing laws. Let's carry out the gap analysis that we need to find out if there are gaps in our existing laws exposed by AI. Make sure our regulators both have the resources and they have the skills to be able to enforce the rules that they've already got in an AI context. And then if there are gaps in the current rules, can we fix them within the current rules? Let's not start from scratch. Only if we can't fix them in the current rules should we think about new legislation. And where possible, that should be technology neutral, because in 10 years' time, what we call AI today will not be what we call AI in 10 years' time. And what we called AI 10 years ago, imagine we did an AI Act 10 years ago, it would look silly now. So
Sure.
try not
Well,
to do tech-specific
You've got
regulation.
support. This morning, the Treasurer was singing the praises of AI and specifically what you're putting forward.
Artificial intelligence is a game changer for our economy. It has the potential to support all of our major economic goals, making our economy more productive, stronger, lifting living standards over time. And every single part of our lives will be impacted over time by artificial intelligence.
So, Dr. King, so far, so good. I don't think you and I disagree on anything that you said. But you've had a lot of detractors today because people are more worried about not specifically the bad actors that you talk about, but the use of AI, especially when it comes to jobs and copyright. Let me bring this one to you. The ACTU today has put out a press release saying your report proposes to sell out Australian workers and their industries. Can I get your reaction to that criticism, please?
Well, I think that's just completely wrong. We are very upfront in our report that while AI, like other historic technologies that we've seen, is most likely to create more jobs than it eliminates, we've been very upfront that not everyone is a winner here. There will be some jobs, there will be some workers who are made worse off by the AI revolution. And we've got to make sure that as a society, we protect those workers, that we have the appropriate safety nets for those workers, that we offer them the retraining that they might need. That's part of being an Australian, I think, that we don't just let people fall through the cracks, that we have the safety nets to protect them. And we need that during this ongoing change associated with AI.
I think that's a fair point. One of my bugbears is when we come to copyright. Should companies have access to material owned and created by artists?
Yeah, so I mentioned the gap analysis earlier on. We have copyright as an example of that gap analysis. We currently do not make any recommendations around copyright law. Let me be very clear that we are not making recommendations for change. We are asking, are our current copyright laws fit for purpose? Do they need changing? How do we make sure that Australia's creative artists get fair reward for their content? How do we make sure that the tech companies aren't just getting a free ride here?
Well, this is the thing to me, because I'm seeing it overseas where big tech is saying to governments, especially in the US, that they need unfettered access to everything that's ever been produced and made so that they can build their AI. Otherwise, they fall behind China. But I sit here going, well, hang on, you're a company trying to build a business off the work of other people. How is that fair in a society where creativity is what we own? It's our commodity.
Yeah, and we've already seen overseas some solutions to this problem. We've seen cases where media companies, for example, have sold the rights to AI companies to use the copyright material. We've seen situations where technology companies have been talking to academic journal publishers so that when you're using an AI engine, you're not using Dr. Google, you're using top edge medical research to get your information. They're currently possible under existing copyright laws. But we need to make sure that the balance is there. And currently there are...
But what is the balance?
So currently creative parties in Australia aren't being rewarded when their material is being used to train overseas AI companies. Now, we can't fix that under our copyright law, but we need to make sure that our copyright law gives fair compensation to the creatives while also allowing the tech companies to be able to license or use the creatives' products with fair compensation to be able to get the applications of AI that we need in Australia.
I guess the hard thing is always knowing if these AI companies, whether they're scraping the net and taking that material and not owning up to that.
Yeah, and at the moment, it's clearly an undesirable situation for everyone. The tech companies aren't winning, the creatives aren't winning. We have other solutions that we've used in the past. So as you'd be aware, you go into a retail shop and you hear music being played. They're just not pirating from the songwriters, from the artists, from the creative people. They're actually paying for that, and it's collected through a collecting society that is authorised by our Competition Commission. So maybe that's the sort of approach that we should be taking here. So we've been very clear. We're going out and asking for people to give us feedback. At one end, do we need any change? Maybe the current law's fine. Or do we need something like collecting societies? Or should we go down the path that some other countries have taken, like Japan, New Zealand, Japan, Singapore, the UK, and have a text and data mining exemption to our copyright laws, so that it makes it easier for the tech companies to gather that information, that copyright information. We haven't.
So hang on, are you saying that these companies should have the right to scrape our text messages?
What? No. We're asking, does the copyright law, is it fit for purpose? And we want to get feedback on whether it's fit for purpose and how it should be changed to make sure, if it's not fit for purpose, how it should be changed to make sure it's fit for purpose. We have made no recommendation at the moment. What we want to do is make a recommendation in our final report, but we need to hear from the people in the industry, from your viewers, what's the best way forward.
It's interesting because there's been a range of press releases coming across my email today. You're in New Zealand tonight as we talk. And so I don't know if you've seen this one from the Voice Actors Association, but they reject text and data mining exemptions for AI training. And the president, Simon Kennedy, says, I'll just read it out to you. Not only does this move put the responsibility on Australian creatives to shoulder legal battles against multi-billion-dollar tech companies who have stolen or misused their work, it also leaves the door open for AI developers to use the biometric data of every Australian whose voice or image has been recorded to train AI applications that can digitally reproduce their likeness, create deepfakes and voice clones.
Yep, and that's fantastic. Please send in that submission to us so that we can take it on board and make sure we're making the right recommendation to government at the end of this year. At the moment,
this is the point. This is an interim report, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it seems to me what I seem to be coming to... Oh, sorry, we're on a delay. Apologies. What it seems to be coming to is that what I'm hearing is that you don't basically want to, you've said it, you don't want to start from scratch. So you want to use existing laws to protect people in the ways that need protecting. What do you see as far as new AI legislation going forward? Do you think there's need for any?
Well, we haven't done the work as a country yet to work out if we need any AI legislation, any AI-specific legislation going forward. The first thing that needs to be done is that gap analysis. Now, copyright we've picked as a case study because we know it's controversial, but we also know it's really, really important. And we don't know that there are gaps there at the moment, that there should be changes to current law. But that's a long, long way from saying we need, say, an AI-specific copyright law. So what we need to do is the gap analysis around our copyright laws, around our laws around medical devices, around our competition laws, around our consumer laws. Think of the laws across society, the regulations that business deals with every day. We need to do the gap analysis and find out, are they fit for purpose for the AI world? And go down that path. If they're not fit, can we make them fit? If we can't make them fit, can we have tech-neutral alternatives? And only as a last step would we be saying have a technology-specific AI-type alternative or AI Act.
As you're going through this process, are you worried that Australia might fall behind if we go too hard with AI legislation?
It's clear from the European experience that if you go very hard in saying, right, we're going to have an AI Act that covers or tries to cover all uses of AI. What you end up doing is you create a huge amount of uncertainty, and you end up with a lot of legal cases because disputes will end up in court about exactly what is covered by the law, exactly what the law means. And whilst all that's going on, you create uncertainty, which puts off investment. So we should learn from our friends in the European Union. They went down this path. The thing we should learn is that's probably not the path that we want to go down. We want to get this gap analysis done in a thorough, but preferably a fairly fast turnaround so that we can get the certainty to get the investment.
Well, it sounds like you are going for a balanced approach. I do look forward to seeing the final report and your recommendations. Dr. Stephen King, thanks for joining us on McKnight Tonight.
Thanks, Rob.
Here comes McKnight tonight.
All right, let's go to your feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. And I've got this one from Dylan, AI lifting our living standards. Not sure about this one. I think it can a little bit, but we'll see what the future holds, Dylan. It's shifting sands, that's for sure. Over the page we go, and we've got this one from Own Your Own Crazy. Screw artificial intelligence. We need action against actual idiots. Yes, I could not agree more. Okay, here we go. Restoration Archive. Australia is and will be an AI wasteland. The power needed, nobody knows what that will be, and renewables is not going to cut it. Yeah, now, what we don't realise is the power used by AI. You might remember a few weeks ago where I mentioned that the CEO of ChatGPT actually... GPT? Yeah, GPT. I always get it confused. But the CEO of ChatGPT said that people just saying thank you was using all this energy and, you know, the water that needs to cool the computer equipment, and that it was actually having an environmental impact. And I've got to be honest, I use ChatGPT to help me with bits and pieces of the show, just get information together with the intros. Obviously, everything I say is my voice and it's me. It's not ChatGPT doing that. But I do say thank you. I do say thank you, and so I shouldn't. Own Your Own Crazy says Rob is worried that a reanimated Max Headroom will start a rival Tonight Show and misappropriate his rants. Sure. All right. Do you know what I think we've got time for before we go? Yeah, we got time for our back-end quickie, so let's get into it. And I know we hear a lot about bad things on social media. You know, everyone says social media, evil, evil, evil. But sometimes it can be a place of great learning. Tonight's insightful back-end quickie all started with this TikTok video.
If you're bored, which you are or you wouldn't be watching this, go into your calendar app. If you have an iPhone, I don't know if it works for Android or not, but I have an iPhone and I just did it and it worked. Go into your calendar app and scroll up to October of 1582. It doesn't take long, trust me. But go to October of 1582. Just go look at it. Go look at it. Tell me what you see.
I was intrigued and I did it. And this is what I found. This is 1582 October. Does that calendar seem a little strange to you? There's only 3 weeks. And if you look, it goes the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then jumps to 15. So is it a mistake? Apparently not. So what happened to an entire week in 1582 in October? Well, believe it or not, October 4, 1582 was immediately followed by October 15 because Pope Gregory XIII scrapped 10 days, and this was to fix a calendar drift and realign the spring equinox to March 21. It was part of a switch from the old Julian calendar to the new Gregorian system. Countries like Italy, Spain and Portugal, they'd all made the leap straight away, skipping the dates October 5 through to October 14 entirely. The Julian calendar, which miscalculated the year length by about 11 minutes, had let equinoxes slip out of sync apparently. The result, Easter test calculations were off, season skewed, and agriculture disrupted. The 10-day jump reset everything to align properly with the seasons again. And it's an historical oddity. You could cross a border in Europe and find yourself teleporting forward or backward by 10 days. Catholic Europe adopted the reform by 1584, but Protestant nations, they held out until much later. Britain only made the change in 1752. Russia waited until 1918, meaning calendar chaos persisted for centuries. Look at the stuff you learn on McKnight Tonight and TikTok. Hey? You never knew, did you? Well, guess what? That brings us to the end of McKnight Tonight. I appreciate your company. Thanks for everything. We'll see you tomorrow night for Tipsy Thursday. Get your wine ready, and the information on how you can buy your mugs will be going to members soon if you're a paid member on YouTube at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight, and then I'll be uploading it for everyone else. So for now, it's good night from McKnight.
Tonight, McKnight tonight, McKnight tonight. It's good